the Undying, so you try to move him around the map, rendering him less useful in the game, since Undying is a hero that you want to stay put, you want to stay static, you want to keep pushing, you don't want to be moving around, generally, as Undying.
So is LGD going to try and respond to this by like having a clockwork that can actually start a fight with the Keeper of the Light, or just go more heavy late game so it doesn't really matter?
Yeah, Clock I think it's very good with killing the Kotal. You want to have someone that can go behind, take out the Kotal before you actually proceed to push the tower. If you try to go too hard in just by knocking on the door, you're always going to have a lot of time wasted by the Illuminate. I mean, either that or Storm. Storm is also a very good way of dealing with the Keeper of the Light.
Were you considering Clock for Fnatic as well? Or was it only
I mean, against the
Keeper.
Kotal.
Against Keeper, okay. Because it's a very classic thing that we've seen from Secret, running Keeper of the Light Clockwork offlane.
Yeah.
But I think they generally do it when they're Radiant. It's just easier for them to contest pulls on Radiant with Illuminate. There's some better angles from the river. And,
So the
Sand though.
Sand King, is this a support?
I think it's Yao Sand King. It's just
Yeah.
I think it's
fitting.
more likely.
I feel it's more like, the reason I feel it's more likely offlane Sand King, it's just because of the CM. Because CM you want to use the jungle. Sand King, if you play CM and Sand King as your both supports, the jungle becomes too crowded. You don't want to share it among the supports too much. So I'm expecting, like what the two of them said, like offlane Sand King, and the Undying as a more supportive role. And CM would probably be just jungling, whatnot.
Chick looks ready to go. Now maybe. In the shot there, he looks less excited right now.
I say, oh.
Can we finish the draft? Shaker for Fnatic.
Shaker gets left out. Finally
We
gets
have a lot of
left out.
spam among the heroes right now, like Kotal. We used to see a lot of Kotal plus a Shaker lanes back in the day against the carry. Just feature and illuminate. But they have the Tusk here. I would think that the Tusk is more likely to become the core, but there was a couple of games where I saw they actually put Johnny, their support player, on the Tusk instead of playing it on Ohio.
Okay.
So there might still be a possibility that the Tusk is actually a support hero here. And we've seen them do it with Kotal yesterday, and we were talking about, it's actually a good combination, the shards and the illuminate. They did make a couple of really cool kills with the two spells.
Their team fight's actually
OD.
filthy.
OD ban. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
We haven't. Mushi does play it.
Yeah, I mean,
He loves to.
he does play, but it's generally very difficult for OD to show up in the current meta. But
At that point, for LGD, then, is it just because it doesn't show up too often, let's just ban that out? We've banned out what we think is generally
probably
stronger anyway.
I think LGD might want. So I was thinking, what's good for Fnatic here? I feel like I've said this like 4 games in a row when it comes to the last pick, but their composition could really use a Viper. It looks like they want to group up and push high ground, right, with the Razor, and then they have like this really good AoE control team fight with Blinding Light, Fissure, etc. So Viper could be great. I'm not sure if they banned OD to. I thought they would have banned OD to maybe just grab the Viper for themselves for their mid.
For LGD.
I mean, it's
But
also
maybe it's gonna take this one.
a good hero 1v1 against Storm. They are probably thinking, when you pick a Storm, you don't want to have a very difficult laning phase. So
But Viper could also be hard. Right?
yeah, Viper in the sense could also be hard. But if you are talking about giving Mushi a hero, you would rather not give him OD. Maybe that was the thought process.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's gonna be the hero that's jumping behind to kill the Kotal. So the Kotal has to be very careful when he's actually defending the towers. I think it's gonna be very hard for him to defend the towers if the Storm is getting somewhat a decent start or a good start. The Kotal can't really defend the tier 1 towers that easily.
Well, Fnatic,
We do agree it's a KYXY Razor, right? Most likely. Has Mushi even played Razor this tournament? I don't think so.
I mean, obviously he can, but it's more likely their safe lane hero, I'd say. They need another hero that can carry hard to go mid lane.
Ranger is what I was thinking.
Wind Ranger is a pretty good choice. Can also knock down towers, which is great.
And Tombstone.
Tombstone. You can't focus fire the Tombstone. Can you?
No, you can't.
You can't. But she still hits pretty hard.
Yeah, but it's you still kill it fairly easily.
Are you sure you can't do it? Can't you?
Yes.
You can focus fire structures.
Yeah, but you can't focus fire. Tombstone and Supernova. I think they're the only.
Yeah,
two
Tombstone is a very
Okay.
Oh wow. Okay.
Well,
This is a
different.
Wait.
Yeah, a little
listen.
different.
Listen to this. You have
Okay.
you have infinite mech hack with 2 Aghanim scepters.
Okay. Well.
The problem is Coddle's Ags will be pretty underwhelming because it'll be night all the time.
Well,
The synergy between these, like, this is a game where Coddle doesn't get Ags. It's just not good.
I mean, otherwise, other than maybe the combo or maybe the anti-combo right there, how are we looking at Fnatic playing this out? The Night Stalker.
they would probably be very aggressive. Like I mentioned before, Fnatic needs to take a lead in the laning phase. They have to be very aggressive, and Night Stalker certainly fits that. And it's a very, I feel it's a soft counter towards, maybe a strong counter as well towards the Storm, since most of the Storm players nowadays don't like to go for BKB early. And against a silencing mechanism, they usually go for a use.
Okay.
So, and it would deter their timing of the Bloodstone, which makes the hero snowball.
All right, well, game 1 between LGD and Fnatic kicking off right now. Very important game for Fnatic. At the same time, LGD, they don't want to drop a map. They want to keep up with that secret at the very least to see if they can tie for that first place. We'll jump right into the game.
Fnatic, that is the game which everyone's tuning in for. It's what keeps Group A hanging in the balance. The results of today will give us the main event positioning as we get underway with Fnatic. Aggressive draft up against LGD. Yep, they're already going to see each other. With a Fissure, there's no real fault because he blocked himself in, but the Shards, yeah, Johnny, they can at least chip away at Zhao Wei, who has no regeneration.
Yeah, he's going to have to back away or at least get pulled a tangle, but some good damage being dealt there. If they could get a little bit better block, they would have had a chance to kill him, but they got a D-ward. That is pretty big.
Yeah. But at the same time, Fnatic get what they're searching for. So okay, you get rid of the wards, but Fnatic now they can control the bottom lane by having this observer ward looking to the other side of the tree line. So it's very difficult for the Crystal Maiden to harass him out, which means Sylar's life's going to be an absolute hellhole. But how's Mushy meant to go in this mid lane? The Night Stalker going up against the Storm Spirit.
Night Stalker against Storm can't really shut him down completely. However, he won't get shut down himself. That's one of the strengths of Night Stalker. He can always farm. He has the Void, which is good for last hitting. And he also has plenty of damage, good armor. The only downside really is the Static Remnant can make your life pretty painful.
And then we look up towards our top lane, of course, KOAXY, the defensive Razor. Looks like he won't be able to get that pull anytime soon from his teammates because it's blocked up by a Sentry Ward.
Yeah.
And
he's probably going to be alone anyway, though.
Well, is he really going to be that threatened? Like, he's only going to be threatened if Yao can get in range for a Burrow Strike.
Yeah, I guess that Ketchikimba is going to come up here and protect him as well. And Ketchik has played Coddle before in this group stage. He's going to just sit behind probably and land a nuke whenever Undying looks too aggressive.
Yao's already going to be forced away by KOXY. Just a simple static link and then into Illuminate. They're trying to get as much chip damage as possible without actually hitting the creep wave. But yep, it's Sylar on the bot lane.
A lot of damage being dealt to Sylar there. And he has a salve, so he's going to regenerate just fine. But still, though, this bottom lane from Fnatic is very, very potent.
Yeah, and LGD's basically out of consumables. Like, Zhao Wei's bringing 4 tangos back down to that bottom lane, but even Sylar had to give one of his tango charges over to that Crystal Maiden previously. So he's got 1 tango charge, and that's all. And, well, there's our first blood on top lane.
Yep.
It's going to be Yao and MMY combining up together. That wasn't really meant to happen unless he got in range for the level 1 Burrow Strike, which looks like he did.
Always has to stay high HP. Only used 1 tango there and didn't really let it heal up to full. He didn't want to waste the salve, but he ended up being in range for their kill potential.
So, rough start for Fnatic, losing the number 1 position. But they're still going to get a little bit more out of the other lanes. As bottom lane, the Fissure over on Sylar, not the right little target. They try to actually lock him in to a wall of ice and rock.
That would have been nice, though, because that would have locked in the Shaker as well. And if that happened, Shaker would have died. He would have lost that fight. I mean, Jaro is a pretty strong duelist. He will take that.
The beauty of Rocket Barrage early on.
Yeah.
So, Fnatic, while their CS might be looking good on most of their lanes, the control doesn't seem to be as nice for them.
No, they don't really have full control of top lane, but that was also a little bit of a misplay there. They could probably have played it safer if KYXY wasn't so greedy. So we'll see if they can stabilize a little bit more. Coddle doing the pulse now, trying to get something. Actually, Illusion trying to mess with it, but that's not going to work.
He still keeps the Dark Creep Wave over there. You don't think he could lose us a couple of last hits if the Illusions can time it right. But, okay, so Ohio down here with Johnny. Like, they keep going for these kills, and it's a very potent lane, as you said, to get rid of all the consumables, but are they even here for a kill when we're seeing what Sylar can do during a team fight? Or during an engagement, sorry?
I don't think they necessarily want to kill anymore, not as the Crystal Maiden is playing closer to the lane. You have to respect that Crystal Maiden and Gyrocopter is a stronger combo, I think, than the Tuscan Shaker. They just want to get levels down there, and then maybe they can land a gang on mid lane where Storm is farming up.
Maybe that's what we should be looking at. Like, it's not just like Storm Spirit's levels, but the timing. Like, in 48 seconds, we're going to be looking at, goodbye Razor, again underneath that tier 1 tower. Tries to static link, but can't run away from the tombstone.
So dangerous. If you get decayed once and then stay close and they go on you, your HP is already so low, it's easy to burst you down. Even as a Razor, you just die. So that's 2-0 already for LGD.
This is a beautiful start for the Chinese, but it's terrible for Fnatic. But it is coming up to nighttime. This is where my point was going to go. That Mushi's about to come online, so he'll have the ability to find kills very, very shortly. But where does he rotate? What's his priority target?
Yeah, I'm surprised that they haven't thrown one gang with Johnny towards the mid lane already. Just try and help that Night Stalker, but they're going to go with nighttime, as you say.
Static linking again on top lane, Yao. Well, he's going to sit inside the Sandstorm, and KOXY just backs up a little bit further. There's no kill potential this time around because the Undying was battling with Kerchik a little bit further over.
He's coming back, though. They want to try again, but this time Razor is playing very safe. Just stay back. Oh, Ohio. And Johnny, actually. Oh, no. Is he stuck? He's stuck.
Yeah, he's locked inside the fissure as well as his own shards. It was the problem we're talking about before. It's a kill coming in for Sylar.
That moment when you're stuck by your own 2 positioning spells, blocking off Fissure and Ice Shards, locking the poor Tusk in place. That's now how it's meant to work.
Hilarious thing is, too, like, it's a nice lockdown, but